71 Chevelle, and doing a firewall here on this one. This is just to kind of help some people out. This is really the same for most cars, GM. I mean, they all metal, they all just have different shapes and contours. You just kind of have to know what, you know, a little bit of basic stuff. First of all, you're gonna want to cut out the old firewall. So if you don't know exactly what 3/4 of an inch is, you can get some 3/4 inch tape and you know, basically just run that around here. Take some wax and grease remover, clean the wax, oil, grease, whatever contaminants may be on there, because the tape might not stick to it too well. Once you get that done, then you can cut it out. Use the cutoff wheel, you can use the air saw. They usually have some spot welds right here on this middle support right there. So you can kind of incorporate your design with that, or you can just weld some. You just gotta be careful where your bead roll artwork is. All the way around, you don't want to overlap it over the existing firewall, because it's just going to hold moisture, trap moisture, and cause rust. The next thing you want to do is make a template, and you'll see I made this one out of some like soda boxes, beer boxes, soft drink boxes. Trying to put enough magnets on here. You can use butcher paper, chipboard. I think Uline sells it. Pretty expensive if you gotta buy $500 worth of it. Or you can do just like this and get some chipboard. I also have some magnets here. These magnets are basically just, I don't know, got from eBay or the art supply store or something. The better your template is, and the neater and nicer and better it fits, the better it will, your metal will fit once you transfer it to a piece of steel. So make sure you take the extra time and do a good job of making it fit on here. You can also get you a piece of aluminum, like an X-Acto knife, if the handle's aluminum, and you can use that and rub it on the edge of stuff, and it'll actually make a black line where you need to cut it. It gives you a little bit more accurate cut. Some of these magnets ain't sticking because I've already transferred, made the metal and everything, but as you can see in the thumbnail. So next thing is, after you get all this fitting the car here, I usually mark where the supports are on the back side from the inside, so you can kind of know where they're at, and you can work your design around that. They do sell these firewalls on eBay for under 200 bucks. But if you get one of those, you know, then you're gonna be like everybody else and have the same firewall, because the same person probably selling 500 of them on there. So I mean, it doesn't take too much more time to make your own if you have the equipment available, or, you know, send a chipboard like this to somebody with a bead roller, and, you know, they can make you one, you know. It's not super labor intensive. Spend a little extra time on the design, but you can make it unique and one-off, you know. So after you get this on here and you get it fitting like you want, you got to transfer it to the metal. Always leave it a little bit bigger and cut on the outside of the scribe lines. It gives you a little bit of extra meat. And then I just file fit and grind it and fit it a little bit to make it fit better. This is my first time using this camera, so forgive me if it's not lining up to what I'm looking at. It's mounted to my head, so So we'll take all these magnets off here, get these out the way. We'll pull the template off. You can see that it's on there. Next thing you do is take this, transfer it to your metal. And for your metal, you want 18 gauge. I mean, if you're doing a little more decorative, you can go a little bit thinner. Being it's gonna be bead rolled, it'll still have some strength. You're not really cutting a whole lot of strength out of the car. Then you know, test fit your panel up there to the car. I used my hole puncher to punch out some holes, the 8mm holes all the way around, so I can plug weld them. I mean, everybody does them differently. This design was just kind of went with the interior design on the door panels somewhat. I know they had the lines were a little tighter on those, but it was just a little too many lines, so try to simplify it a little bit. Next thing, after you start grinding and fitting and getting your panel to fit up here, I always get some Clecos and test mount it up here with these Clecos. One of these holes was stripped, so I used a little bit bigger one on that one, but the rest of them are just 1/8 inch. And you can see how the Clecos hold it right on the car. They hold it flat. You can do your welding on here. I always make sure I get some like 3M weld through primer, and I'll weld through prime both sides, because once you weld it, you can't get to the in between it. So you want to do everything you can to prevent corrosion, because later on down the line, I mean, most of these cars are not daily drivers. They don't sit out in the weather, but if they are out in the weather, you just want to make sure you can do what you can to prolong it, to make it last as long as humanly possible with available skills and materials. You don't want to buy the cheap materials, because materials are pretty expensive. So you don't want to buy the junk stuff, because it'll bite you. I always try to tell people, you buy it, the good stuff the first time, you won't have to buy it twice. I have a lot of guys try to save 20-30 bucks like on different stuff. Oh, it's 30 bucks, yeah, and then you buy it and it don't work, and you're like, well, now you gotta buy the other one anyway. So did you really save any money? No. So you can see here I got some Clecos. They got some different ones. These are good for like holding stuff together, like 2 pieces of metal. Way better than using screws, because you over tighten the self-tapping screw with the drill or impact driver, and then now you got a dent in the metal. And you can see I can take these Clecos off faster than you could screw and unscrew. And they hold at the perfect tension. So if you got too much tension on it, your metal doesn't fit correctly. So these things are perfect. If you can't get the Cleco to hold, it got too much pressure on it for whatever reason, do some hammering, do some dollying, and shape that metal. So this one, it would do all the welding. I'd grind it all flat, smooth, 60 grit. Then, you know, after the 60 grit, you can come back with a coarse brown surface and disc, and it'll take the 60 grit scratches out. Then I usually just run some 80, some 180. Then I take a red Scotch-Brite pad and I put it on a DA, and I'll put that over all the welded areas, and basically it'll metal finish it, and then it'll just get it clean. And if you don't plan on doing any more metal work for a few weeks or whatever, and it's gonna sit in your garage, you want to wait till you get all your metal work done, you can get some Gibbs oil, and I take the Gibbs oil on a scuff pad and scuff the whole thing down. It'll get rid of all those little rust spots from fingerprints and stuff, and it'll keep it oiled. And I've had stuff sitting in the shop, I guess maybe a couple of years, you know, without even needing anything else, you know. And when you do see a little rust, you just scuff pad and some more oil, and when you go to prime it, you just make sure you wax and grease it. I usually take paint thinner, get all that, then I'll wax and grease it, and you know, make sure you got some kind of mechanical adhesion too, because if you got it too smooth, you know, the epoxy primers tend not to adhere very well. And I also want to go over if there's any other little things that you could probably do for these firewalls. Also, you want to take your time, remember any of these modifications and restorations, they are basically like, you know, not a race but a marathon. So sorry about the earphones. So just remember to take your time and think things through, have a little bit of a game plan when you go in and you start doing this stuff. Also, if you're going to do anything with the firewall, you got to remember, if you're going to do the original wiring for like the C10s, the GM, they all have the same bulkhead where the wiring goes through. So you can change that, do a custom one, you know, run your wires through different areas that are hidden. You know, you can put them through here. Just remember, you always use you know, rubber grommets on everything. Make sure your ground wires are, you know, the bare metal and have dielectric grease so they don't rust and so on. Also remember, you know, if there's any other holes that you're not going to be using, like if you're going to do a custom steering column, you can actually, you know, smooth this out and put your own, and get like from J&J, I think it's J&J rods or something. They sell a new boot with a stainless piece of polished stainless trim that goes around it. You could do a Flaming River steering column, which is actually a GM column, and then it just changes, you know, the way they mount and stuff. The same thing on the C10s. The C10s have that big old bracket here, which I have on some of them, left them off. Some of them we left them on. I just trimmed them up to clean them up a little bit. So there's many different ways you can go on these builds. It just depends on what style and budget you have, and you know, how much time you're willing to take to put into those things, you know, because of course, like with anything, the more time, the more money you put into it, you know, the better results you can have it if, you know, you take your time and do it right. You know, don't cut corners, don't try to, you know, use junk materials and stuff, you know. And if there's anything I can do to, you know, give you some pointers, or you got any questions, you know, just leave a comment down in the comment section. I'll try to get to you, you know. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video or you find it helpful. As with any of these videos, you know, the thumbs ups do help our channel grow. And if there's any videos that you would like me to, you know, or any content you would like me to make a video, or you got any suggestions, you know, and I have the car here to do it, I'd be more than happy to make the video, you know. But stay tuned, I'm gonna try to start making some more videos. Just been so busy Building these cars, they take so much time to do. Oh, I guess that's it. Don't forget, get out there in your garage and make something cool, you know? Don't sit around and watch TV all day. Go make something. Do something. Peace.